notes.
Any tism's a good tism.
Hello to all you patriots out there in podcast land, and welcome to episode 407 of Canadian Patriot Podcast, the #1 live podcast. And my levels are all fucked up. How come nobody said anything?
You sound fine to me.
Yeah, because your thing is better than my ears.
Well, let's try this again with the thing with the levels. And hello to all you patriots out there in podcast land, and welcome to episode 407 of Canadian Patriot Podcast, the #1 live podcast in Canada. We're recording on October 23rd, 2023.
We need your help to support Canadian Patriot Podcast. Visit patreon.com/CPP and become a Patreon. You can get a better quality version of the show for just $1 an episode. You can also show that you're not a communist by buying a CPP t-shirt for just $24.99 plus shipping and theft. Visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com, the homepage, and follow the link on the right.
This takes us to my favorite segment, where it seems like my levels are in fact fixed. It's called What Are We Drinking? And what have you recently completed on the Patriot Challenge? As Liz is absent, we will start with Pierre. Pierre, what are you drinking?
Whiskey and water. Patriot Challenge is starting to work on some skills. Doing some house renos next week, so trying to figure all that out, getting all the ducks in a line. Hope a buddy put some new flooring down, so kind of learn a skill that hopefully I'm going to transition. Getting on top of my water and hoping to get back on the reading train, because I've been really crappy at reading since we stopped book club. That was one thing that kind of kept me on it. But we got a few books on order that hopefully going to make a little bit of time and get back on that train of reading books that will make me a non-douchey person. Yeah. What about you, Ian?
Well, I'm currently drinking coffee with some 40 Creek Nanaimo Bar Irish cream. It's good stuff. Patriot Challenge, water, of course. Got to keep up with the water. Exercise every day. Today I was doing carpentry, so I was building some shelving units and stuff in the hay shed, and then yeah, so there's 3 things right there, I guess, without even trying. And what about you, Gavin?
Well, I am drinking some Canadian Club, what is it, classic 12-year, because I'm fancy like that, and the Pepsi Zero. Patriot stuff, drinking my water, doing my reading. Finished one Andy McNabb book and on to the next one, trying to get through a bunch of those because they're fun. Skills and stuff, I was at the base shooting the pistols on the weekend with the RCMI. It was our annual zombie shoot. I came in 3rd, so it's a good times. Good times. Andrew?
Oh, what haven't I been doing? I guess, what am I drinking? That's the real question. Liz isn't here to fix my pronunciation, so I think this is Craig.
Dipping into the trailer scotch.
Drinking the trailer scotch. Trailer's cleaned out. Found a bottle of trailer scotch. Craig Leahy.
You can thank our friend Ben for that one.
Well, I'm thanking Ben for that. So I got trailer scotch. Trailer's all winterized up and packed up and done. And as the trailer is put away, I have bought myself a motorcycle just in time for winter. So my skill that I have been practicing is I finished my, in Ontario, it's a graduated system. So I've finished my M2, and now I just have to wait for my full M license when I'm eligible in 18 more months. So
Thankfully, a bunch of those are winter months, so it's not like you're missing out.
I know, but it's sitting there, and
yeah. There's the way the system works. Like, it's fine to have the graduations. I don't disagree with like making people do things in steps, but it's a little ridiculous that they make you wait even if you have passed the subsequent test. That's the dumb part.
well, that's okay. Got myself a motorcycle. Been out getting lots of riding in and practicing in parking lots with cones and having a good time. And drinking my water and reading my books. And I just finished 3 sips of gin, dominating the battle space with Rhodesia's Elite Celis Scouts, Tim Bax's autobiography, which is actually very little about dominating the battle space and a whole lot about drinking. So definitely my cup of tea.
Maybe
Or
that's
gin.
how they
Maybe
dominated
that's
the
how he
battle
won.
space. Yeah.
You're
Kind
drunk
of,
enough
sort of,
and don't
not
care.
exactly, but really interesting, like fascinating book.
Nice.
I'm up to 15 books, I think, this year. I'm well ahead of my one a month goal that I had.
Nice. That's good. I got to get on that bandwagon. I've been very much slacking.
I can.
That's nice.
It happens.
You get busy and things are going
Yeah.
on, and it's a prioritization problem. And I get that because
Yeah.
it's like I should exercise and ride my bicycle and go for runs, and I'm like, or it's above 10 degrees. I should ride my motorcycle. So I'll let
Yeah.
you guess which one I've been doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to get in it sometimes. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm definitely over the one book a month goal, but I don't know. I usually set my reading goal pretty high. I think last year I accomplished 4 books a month, which was a little crazy, but
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
a
but
lot
I
of
mean-
books.
Yeah, but I mean, if it's something you want to do and you stick with it, like I just gotta stop being a
Yeah,
little
I think
bitch about
I'm
it.
somewhere
Carve
around
for
like
the time.
17 or so for this year so far.
Nice. Still young.
That and just to update people, because it's been a little bit since we've done this, we did go to the trailer and we did have Darren's meat in our mouths, and it was delicious.
Yeah.
A little salty.
Yes, but chemical free.
Yeah,
Yeah. So he was like good on his intake of pineapple.
he was wonderful on it. Yes, it was pork, so the pineapple went very well with the pork. Just kidding, there was no pineapple. It was basically just the ham and the bacon. And then what else did we have? Pumpkin pie. We had a delicious pumpkin pie.
On sale pumpkin pie, the
Yeah.
best kind of pumpkin pie.
Just
And,
'cause it's cheap.
and then potato chips. I think that was our dinner for the evening.
Sounds fantastic.
We're men of simple tastes.
Yes. So if you want to tell us about meat you've had in your mouth, we'd love to hear your feedback about the show. Please visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com/feedback or email us at feedback@CanadianPatriotPodcast.com. Version of the show is available on iTunes.
Very interesting segue.
Thank you. I was like, I gotta hop on that one. It came through my mind.
Wow.
Boy. All right. Well, I will let Gavin take over hosting at this
Yeah.
point because I have not come unprepared as I have alcohol and strong opinions, but I am not well versed in today's news. I think
all
we're
right.
supposed to start by throwing up a big old Roman salute.
Yeah, we've got a follow-up on the previous week's Nazi stories. So not only did we invite one to like get a standing ovation in Parliament, apparently we have given another one a bunch of medals, including the in 1987 the Order of Canada. So Mr. Savarin, a former chancellor of the University of Alberta, was appointed the Order of Canada in 1987 by Governor General Jean Sauve.
Stove.
Yeah,
Stovey.
like the wine. Okay, perfect. Previous Governor Generals also awarded this person the Golden Jubilee and Diamond Jubilee medals in 2002 and 2012. The current Governor General, Mary Simon, has apologized for the appointment of the Order of Canada to this person. And they served in the same, it says Nazi-led, which I thought was a weird way of them putting that, the same Waffen SS division as Yaroslav Hunka, which was the guy that got the standing ovation. The statement apologizes for the distress his appointment to the Order of Canada may have caused, some almost 40
Almost
years,
40
30
years, like
almost 40
36
yeah,
years,
almost
37
40
years.
years after. Yeah. That and apparently the Jubilee medals are normally things that are awarded to Canadians who have made a significant contribution to this country.
Well, I mean, he's the chancellor of a provincial university. I feel like he's probably done some sort of contributory thing.
Well, he did
Yeah.
greatly what do you call it, influence our deputy prime minister when she was working as a
Yeah,
clerk for him.
I feel like he could be living up to the motto, though. The Order of Canada motto, I'm not going to try it in Latin, but the English version is "They desire a better country," which was probably true in both of his capacities in the Waffen SS and is the Chancellor of the University of Alberta.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you're not wrong. Just, I mean, you might be wrong on moral standards, but just taking it for face value.
I'm just
you're
saying,
not
like, from
wrong.
his point of view, he might have been desiring a better country.
Yeah, he was just
Yeah.
trying to improve his country.
yeah. So Big Trudy there had to step into, because he can't ever let anything go without his say on it as well. But apparently he told the reporters that senior public servants were looking into publishing the full report of the Deutschness Commission, which apparently is the one where we knew who all the Nazis were when we invited them into the country, but redacted that. So apparently he's got the top public servants looking into this issue and digging into the archives, and they're going to make recommendations to the relevant ministers. Apparently
That
Savrin.
says that's Deschamps. That's French. It's got a little hat on the E.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
it's
either way,
Deschamps.
yeah. The report that named the names and then redacted the names is apparently going to be released
Yeah.
some 40 something years later.
Yeah,
So the Peter Savrin, the guy that we're talking about, was a leading progressive conservative in Alberta and prominent member of Edmonton's Ukrainian community, who championed multiculturalism and played a key role in establishing schools with Ukrainian language instruction. He was also set up the Edmonton branch of the Ukrainian scout group Plast, whose participants include Chrystia Freeland, now Deputy Prime Minister. And in 2013, during an interview with the newspaper Ukrainian Weekly, Freeland recalled attending the youth group there. And quote, "Plast was a very important part of my life growing up. I grew up in a Ukrainian community and was active in Plast."
I bet you she was.
Yeah.
I don't know the deal. Like, this is like Boy Scouts for Ukrainians.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
same idea, but she also the second, like I said, the second role, she
Yeah.
actually worked for him directly at the university as a what do you call those,
Yeah.
like not a
Bitches.
clerk. Well, not a clerk, but like kind of an undergrad, like a professional student helper or whatever they call those things. Anyway, yeah, she's like
Yeah,
a TA, so she literally worked directly with him when he was the governor
Yeah.
or lieutenant governor
So
general.
she
whatever.
first met him when he was running the Hitler Youth Program in Alberta.
Correct.
But I just find it funny that since 1987, when they gave him something, like nobody had figured out, right? Like the only reason all of this came up was because of this giant stink of we invited someone to Parliament to speak and we gave him a standing ovation. Fine, he's got a questionable path. Like it's not like whatever, but now because of the Googles and being able to research, we've realized like, hey, we've praised this guy and put this guy in so many scenarios where he has been able to influence future generations and potentially influence people going to school in the wannabe Hitler Youth program through Scouts. And now we're saying like, oh shit, we fucked up like 40 years ago, but we also fucked up like, 10 years ago and 20 years ago and all that stuff. Like
What I'm hearing is the government keeps making mistakes.
Yes.
But they
But-
only rectify those mistakes when like someone points something out and then they start looking and they're
Well,
like, yeah,
but so
okay, sorry, we screwed
the-
up a while.
the next sort of batch of notes here is sort of related to this one in that it talks about the same person, but about the university and like grants and stuff like that are in their name. But apparently on the old website, it's since been deleted. The university did not hide this person's past. So it was known
Yeah, but so that's
to at least
I'm
some
good with that.
people, and if anyone bothered to do any sort of research, and one would think that like Freeland, given that her, grandfather was the editor of the Nazi paper, and then she participated in a bunch of things that are associated with people that were Nazis. That maybe when they had the guy come to speak in Parliament, she should have been the one to be like, Justin, maybe we shouldn't let this guy in. Because she, of all people, should have recognized something. But
Yeah, like the funny mustache is normally a dead giveaway.
yeah,
But
yeah, to carry on about this, because it's kind of like two stories in one here. The University of Alberta says that it is reviewing donations that it has received after returning $30,000 from the family of Yaroslav Hunka. So this is the gentleman that was getting the standing ovation. The university is also facing calls to return hundreds of thousands of dollars in endowments in the names of Ukrainians linked to the same Waffen SS unit. They include an endowment of $430,000 in the name of Volodymyr Kubachia, something or other, who
Yeah,
played
A
a
Ukrainian name. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
who played a key role in the SS unit's establishment in 1943. Per Anders Rudling, an expert in the Waffen SS Galicia division, which is the one that we're talking about, who studied at the University of Alberta, said that for the sake of consistency, the university would return other donations from SS veterans to fund Ukrainian studies, because apparently this was a very popular thing to do if you were a Ukrainian Nazi and living in Alberta. You would fund this
makes sense.
university and their
yeah,
Ukrainian
it makes
studies.
sense. One of them's a teacher. Why wouldn't you
Yeah.
fucking? Yeah.
Yeah,
know.
so it did not make sense to just return the $30,000 from Hunka, who was a teenager at the time. He volunteered to fight with the Waffen SS division while keeping money from more senior figures. University of Alberta spokesman Michael Brown said last week that it has decided to close the endowment fund that existed for Mr. Hunka's name and return the funds to the donor. They are currently reviewing other endowments and our general naming policies and procedures, including those endowments, ensure alignment with values. So to me, it sounds like they're not going to stop taking money from Nazis or other people that may or may not be in favor or out of favor at the time. They're just going to maybe not name them.
Yeah, like if you're
That's how I
Nazi,
read that.
That's intellectually dishonest. Either take their money and put their name there, or don't. You don't get to have both.
Yeah, because they're not necessarily investigating that it's going to take the money or not. They're investigating its naming policy.
Right.
Yeah.
That's an intellectually dishonest
Yeah.
behavior, which is a sort of, I don't know if this is the point you're trying to arrive at with this or not, but my not very spicy take on this is you don't get to have it both
Yeah.
ways.
Exactly. It's
Like, these people are not inherently evil people because they served in a foreign military in a time of war
Anymore.
after their country had been invaded. Right? Like,
yeah, but they
doesn't
also
make
joined
him
the wrong side.
as opposed to the alternative of
Oh no,
what?
everybody
Telling
else,
the commissars, no, I guess that'd be the Russian side. Telling
Yeah,
the
maybe at that
political
time,
officer
yeah,
to
they're-
fuck off. Like, well, no,
Yeah,
like,
so-
you want,
yeah.
you don't get to have it
can't-
both ways.
You either accept the money and name it after them, or you don't. Accepting the money and just going like, yes, hello, Mr. Nazi dude, I will gladly take your money, but we're going to need to name your endowment the Sunshine and Rainbows Fund so as to not have
or
people.
you need
It's dishonest.
you need to stay anonymous, right? Like someone donated,
But that's the
right? Like, they want to stay anonymous.
No,
like,
is
that just gonna be the loophole?
Even
Yeah.
more fundamentally than the naming program. If you're going to take this person's money, then you get
Yeah.
to take it with all of the baggage that comes along with that
absolutely,
person's
which
history.
means
100%.
which names naming them and being honest
I think-
about who donated it. Yeah.
Yes,
whether
that
you
is-
name them or not, it doesn't matter. Like if
No,
their
you-
background exists and you're okay with it, fine.
Well,
you
but that's
stand by
but
that
the only
statement.
way the only way that you can do that is by naming the names of the people that gave the money, because if it's just donated anonymously or donated by something else, it needs to be who did this. If it's an organization that donates the money, then the organization needs to be named. If it's an individual, so that way people can say who it is, right? And then they can do the research if they choose to do that, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I fundamentally disagree with it. If you're going to take
Yeah.
their money, then you're going to take their money. Either their money is good enough or their money is not good enough, and that comes with all of the things that they have done
Absolutely.
in their lifetime. And I struggle to understand why someone would hold something against.
Yeah.
Why are talking head class the non-proletariat, the
Yeah.
bourgeoisie class? There we go. I'm struggling for words today. I don't understand why the
Yeah.
bourgeoisie class would hold it against somebody for something they did 40 odd years prior to this event that was almost 40 years ago again. Yeah, okay, they served in a German military unit while Germany was at war with a bunch of other European countries.
Like,
I don't think that inherently makes them a bad person just because that they served in the German military.
Yeah, and especially considering maybe their age at that point, like how
Right, but
was
like
this
that's the thing is, I
person in
don't
that
think that
time,
they're
right? Like,
inherently a bad person.
no,
They've clearly
you made a
gone
poor
on to
life
do.
decision. Maybe
I don't even
now,
think it's a
like,
poor life decision.
At the time, they were
I-
trying to keep the communists out of
Yeah.
what they considered
Well, and
their
so, I mean,
homeland,
and
right?
that's-
So,
with the
Yeah.
information they had at that time, they thought that was a good decision.
Well,
You
but
know,
what's
fucking-
the alternative? They join the SS Galatian and they fight the communists, or they suffer the Holodomor and Stalin starves them to death.
Yeah.
Those options are
Like-
kind of shitty.
Yeah, and that's a giant issue. Like I've mentioned before, and we've all mentioned, like
Yeah.
sometimes, you know,
Well,
the story leading up to the event where someone does something is forgotten. Where
yeah,
if we were in those shoes, we probably would have followed the same path, because what was the scenario prior to this? What was the living? What was society like? What was government like? What was all these things where, you know, they got a golden apple put in front of them and said, hey, you know, just join us and we can make this better. Might have been the scenario they were in where, you know, years down the road or after, you know, the veil was unveiled or pulled off of them, they realized that might not have been the best decision in my life.
yeah. So, I mean,
Nobody wants to talk about that.
well, yeah, there's a bunch of other names that were named and various amounts of money. And then they even go on to say that there were like veterans of this SS regiment have also held positions, including Peter Savern is the guy that got the Order of Canada and everything else. So he was one of around 12 former members of the Waffen SS division with endowments, awards, and donations in the name at the university. So, you know, there's a bunch of people and like, yeah. But some historical context stuff here is kind of what we were talking about just now. And so in Savern's obituary, because the guy's dead and we're complaining about all this, in the Canadian Institute of Ukrainian Studies newsletter explained how as a 17-year-old he joined the division after being summoned with his brother by his father, who then said, you know, when Hitler's drive to the east faltered in 1943 and the Soviet military began its relentless counteroffensive, his father told him he was left with two options: either go to the woods to join the Ukrainian partisans fighting the German, Poles, and Soviets, or enlist in this division.
So,
you know,
again, he was given
yeah.
two options.
Yeah, and
Maybe
in the
later
decades, in the decades after the Second World War, the division's veterans debate whether the creation of the formation has been a mistake, whether their ideas of breaking from the Germans at the war's end and becoming the core of a Ukrainian army had been a fantasy, or whether they had been in fact a German and not a Ukrainian army. So, I mean, they're struggling with this sort of identity themselves and everything. But I mean, to say that we didn't know who these people were is nonsense.
well, especially when they had an entire what is it, a monument in the middle of Edmonton devoted to this division.
And one in Oakville.
So it's not like there's a big secret about it either.
Yeah,
And
we conveniently forget about it when we don't want to, but then make a big stink about it. I mean, it's just finding it hilarious because the more you dig into it, it's like, the more
Well-
we knew about this and have known about this for forever.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
fighting the Russians when they were our allies was bad. Now fighting the Russians is good. Just like back in the 50s, we were like literally stacking up Chinese like cordwood in Kapyong, and now they're our biggest trading partner. So I mean, over a few decades,
Yeah.
things can change, right?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, exactly.
Geopolitics is unstable.
It turns out,
Yeah.
like who would have thought?
Huh.
Yeah. Geopolitics is unstable as other parts of the world right now. That is for sure. But I mean, when in doubt, always just, follow your nose and it'll lead you to where the money goes. And that's usually the people that are responsible. But yeah, to say we didn't know that these guys were Nazis when it was quite clear that they were, because they were involved in all sorts of SS division veterans groups and newsletters and everything, even after the war, is also
Yeah.
dishonest. So
But we're also implying that university staff, people that run the place, as well as the government, is competent enough to take any of this into consideration until someone blows the whistle on it, is also kind of odd.
yeah,
Canadian politics, very funny stuff.
yeah, hilarious.
Something.
Speaking of Canadian politics,
Hmm.
Dear
Let me get my
leader.
first class for this one.
yeah, dear leader, Mr. Justin Trudeau has been disinvited from the Polytechnic Remembrance Memorial Ceremony festivities. I don't know what the right word is for this, but
Grave dancing.
yes, that's correct. yes.
Celebration.
I
Yeah.
believe the term we're searching for is grave dancing.
Yes, that is
Yeah.
an accurate one. So yes, the Quebec-based anti-gun group declare that it would disinvite Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Not his dad.
Also,
his dad's
Pierre,
already
Pierre is also not invited.
Also
Yeah, I mean,
Pierre's not
that's
invited.
probably on a different basis
Yeah.
than his.
Yeah,
But yes, thank you.
yes, from their annual, they call it a commemoration of the '89 mass shooting. Apparently, several officials within the public safety ministry went into damage control mode, looking for ways to respond. Documents released under access to information show that emails reveal the government staffers reacted with concern to news coverage of a March 2021 letter sent to Trudeau. So all this stuff happened a while ago, but it's all just coming to light now. So the letter and subsequent coverage expressed the group's anger over Bill C-21, which the group described as lamentable. And in a March 18th French language article published by Radio Canada, Polly Souvent accused Trudeau of abandoning and betraying victims of Canadian gun violence over the government's announcements of a voluntary buyback program for certain firearms instead of a mandatory confiscation, which Polly Souvent had demanded.
So just to make sure I understand, Wendy Suki or Polly Sukivian, they're all upset. Suki is the same one? Yeah. No.
This was I believe,
Rathjen.
Rathjen, yeah, Heidi.
So Polly Sukivian's upset because the government is raping legal firearms owners, but they're not raping them hard enough.
Yes, they
Correct,
used
or fast enough.
too much lubricant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure I understood that
Yeah.
their complaint was that
Yeah.
Yeah.
that I am having my property confiscated and my use of that
Yeah.
property diminished. And
With
they're upset about this is that they haven't taken away all of my property. That's
And they haven't
and-
taken
and-
all of it away
Okay.
fast enough. Yes.
Yeah, but it
Just
turns out
making
I
sure
just
I
found it.
understood.
I just found it was voluntary. It turns out, according to them. So I mean,
Well, it was supposed to be voluntary,
Yeah,
although I don't
yeah.
think it
Sure.
ever was. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was supposed to be voluntary. They would buy it back, or you would, or at least how I understood it, it would be you either voluntarily hand it back to the government and they would give you a certain amount of funds for it, or you had to get it.
just like how you
decommissioned.
voluntarily join a partisan group to fight the communists, or is that
Yes.
a different?
It's
No,
different
but
when
I
they
mean,
do it
Like,
versus when
like
we do it.
like 50
Yeah.
years from now, they'll say your name, like we're saying, if you
You,
do it
they're
that
going to
way.
name a university after me?
I'm gonna get the Order of
Order of
Canada.
Canada. Yeah.
Yeah, sweet.
I mean, whichever way you want to look at it, but it was
Yeah.
either you had to get it, I
Well-
don't know if decommissioned is a proper term, but like made unusable by, putting a
You know,
bunch
you
of
st- you
metal
st-
in
you
the
still
action
can.
and this, that.
You
Yeah.
still can do that.
Yeah.
But those are still your options. I believe there was an option though originally that was called the grandfathering, which we don't seem to have anymore, where you'd
No.
be able to keep it, much like you were grandfathered your Tommy gun that you're allowed to keep and you're allowed to keep it in full functioning condition.
Yeah.
But you just can't take it anywhere and use it or
Yeah,
sell it to
and-
anyone unless they also had a Tommy gun at the same time as you and have the correct licensing.
Yeah.
So
and
either
when
way-
you passed away, it was like taken
Yeah.
and it would be disposed of.
Yes, for no
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
So like whatever option you picked, you were still at some point in time having your property confiscated from you.
But the gooder option is when I die and I'm dead, you can have it then.
No.
No.
No, because I will.
Out
have
of
a
all the
wicked-
options, that is a
no,
nice option.
I
Why should I deprive my children of their inheritance?
I don't
I-
disagree.
plan to eat all of the aluminum, so I get all of the dementia, and I have no idea where I put all of those things, and they will just be gone and disappeared.
Allegedly.
Be the strangest
Sorry,
thing.
I didn't even know that I owned this thing.
What?
Yeah.
At least I wasn't a Nazi.
Exactly. Yes, the letter to Trudeau from the group translated from French had said, if you continue with this bill, we will never again welcome you alongside us when we mourn the death of our daughters, sisters, and friends during the annual commemorations.
Yeah, but does
Oh,
that mean
no.
that at the same
Are they-
time they can't stand alongside him whenever
Well,
they want anything?
He
'Cause
will
this could
gladly
work
let them
for
do
us.
that anytime, because that's the kind of guy
But
that
this
he is.
doesn't.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
reduces the photo ops for the prime minister by one.
Yeah,
There's at least
Yeah.
365 more photo ops.
and really, this is a really inappropriate one for him to have no shirt on him, and that's his forte, so.
Well, I mean, play to your strengths.
Yeah, but later that year, the Trudeau government adjusted its policy so that the initial voluntary buyback program became the mandatory confiscation the group had been demanding. So I guess that we've learned something from this now is that if we want to get what we want, we just have to threaten him with less photo ops. Yeah. Yeah, the letter claimed that not going all in on confiscating firearms from licensed owners was a reversal of previous election promises, vowing to initiate a buyback program for all assault weapons. They also blamed the gun lobby. Yes, the grandmother with the tiny dog, the gun lobby. They blame her for fomenting trepidation over supposed failures in New Zealand's firearms confiscations following the 2019 Christchurch shootings in New Zealand. It also refuted criticisms that the confiscation would adversely impact First Nations people, as they would be given a special amnesty of 2 years to replace their newly banned firearms. That,
Probably with government grants.
yeah, that,
And
well,
which like
their
probably
their
with government
2.5
grants.
year amnesty is now, or 2 year amnesty is now 5.5 years, or will be by the end of the extension. Also, it's hard to replace the guns when their next step after this was to try to ban all of the other guns. But yes,
How are
under-
your drywalling skills?
yeah, could be better, but I've got time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yes, under a voluntary buyback program, countless fully functional assault weapons would remain in circulation, which could be stolen or used by their owners for violent purposes. Apparently that's in the letter.
So like, are we not gonna talk about the fact that what happened at École Polytech in the shithole of Canada, Quebec, all happened with what kind of rifle?
Mini 14.
Yeah.
Mini 14, which
Doesn't
It's not
matter.
enough.
Rifle's a rifle. The problem
Yeah.
is still
It's a tool.
Emil Garb.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
Muslim
and-
violence against women needs to be ended.
People
No, was that
have
over the
men-
line? Was
No.
I?
No,
did
I-
I do
I
a
mean,
racism?
I don't
people
see
that
how you make
have-
a disagree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
People
like-
that have mental health problems need to be dealt with accordingly.
Yeah,
Well,
and
I don't know if was it really a mental health problem.
Or was it just our first terrorist attack?
I mean, I lean towards this was violence against women. This was terrorism. This was an
That-
unhinged person doing unhinged. And maybe I don't know. As I'm saying that, maybe Gavin's making a valid argument. Maybe it is a mental health thing, but I don't think he was doing it because he was crazy. I think he was doing it because that's what he believed the right thing to do was.
Yes, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of
along with
neither
the
here
guy
nor
we gave
there,
a
but-
standing ovation. And what's
But-
it called? When he was a fucking Nazi, and we gave him a standing ovation. At that point, he probably thought that was right. But I mean,
well, but I mean, I don't know that. None of us can really go back and see what this guy's motivation was back in the day because we weren't there and everything else.
not
But
yet
like,
at least.
Well, the guys that were there were too chicken shit to rush him and take him down.
well, and
Well, they
so
just
part
marched
of,
out of the room. So
yeah, part of the problem is like, yes, that, but also the way that we have now learned to deal with mass shooting events is greatly different than then. Like previously, the cops would get there and set up a perimeter.
And then wait
stop
for
people from-
SWAT or
from going in.
special. Yeah,
Well, they would try to do all the things, but they'd set up a perimeter to stop the person from leaving. But all that meant was that the person basically has free reign of everyone that's in there, and it becomes
Yeah.
not to
inside that place or whatever,
Um,
right? Because now we've adjusted
well,
how
and not
we
to
respond
to
things.
minimize the events of this or any other shooting like this, but it basically turned them into fish in a barrel.
Yeah.
We've now learned that this doesn't work, and you need to get the cops with the good guys with the guns into the situation as quickly as possible, so that the good guy with the gun can shoot the bad guy with the gun.
Yeah.
But
And
we
it may
continue
not
to have
yeah.
this grave dancing ceremony, which is basically a photo op for whatever prime minister or politician is in at the time. And I mean, it's kind of disgusting that we do this. You know, we trot out these names once a year and do it for political reasons rather than doing it for actually remembering those people that died that day. And we have done nothing.
No, I disagree with the passive voice in this. Those people were killed by a terrorist.
Yes,
They did not die. They were murdered.
yes.
And the crazy part is, I don't remember how long ago this was or whatever. I saw an article, listened to something because it was that time of year where they were bringing the shit up, and it was kind of nice because they had kind of both people on the side where they read the autopsies or the report of someone in one of those scenarios where they said, yeah, this guy used a Ruger Mini 14, but it wouldn't have been any different if this guy had like a single shot. Like
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
it's
He could have
surprising
run
how
them all
little
over.
people.
I mean, it'd
Yeah,
probably be a lot
it's-
harder to drive a van of peace down the hallway of a school than walk down the
Yeah.
hallway with a rifle. But like my point stands,
with that
the
attitude,
instrument
yes.
of the murdering does not really matter. The murdering is
Yeah.
the problem.
Yes.
Right.
And the
But-
motivation behind the murdering also seems to make a difference because, you know,
It's one of those things where I'm like, at least we need to figure out what caused a person to do things like
Cer-
this.
certain groups seem to be more prone to the murdering than other groups.
I want to get down to the basics of, if someone has intentions like this, yes, as much as I'm all up for get whatever the fuck you want, do whatever the fuck you want. I don't want someone that decides like, today's the day where I don't like women, like whatever race, Hispanics, like whatever gender you identify as they thems. Today's the day where we're just gonna shoot you all. So we should put preventions into that, but that should not affect the fact of me being a responsible person
Well, but
and
But
being
I would say
vetoed
me
every
being the
day.
responsible person is the best prevention for that
Yeah.
because When somebody
in a
decides
real
to
world,
break
yes.
into my school and start shooting the place up, and I happen to have my legally obtained concealed carry firearm on and about my person, I can
Yes.
probably stop the threat a whole lot faster than the police can get there to do it.
Yes, and
I-
most
you know,
likely more efficiently. Let's be
Yeah,
well,
honest.
because we
yeah, I
actually
mean,
practice.
In most scenarios,
Yes.
I'm not saying for every scenario, but I'm just
but-
saying like 99.9% of the time, you could probably
This
do
is
it
the thing,
more
is
efficiently than
if we
90%.
this is
just
the-
eliminate the tools that people can use to commit crimes with, we're not stopping them committing crimes. We're just making them
We're-
use a different tool.
We're making them be more innovative.
Yeah.
That's all we're doing. We're making them actually better criminals because they learn to innovate. But I mean, yeah, this is the problem. And like, this is the thing that annoys me is that like, so whenever we equate like the actions of a singular person with a group, we get called racist, bigoted, religiousists or whatever, right? Like,
Well, don't forget your standing ovation, people. Nazis.
yes, all of
Yes,
those
yes.
things. But somehow it's okay for them to paint, gun owners, even
You.
though like, while this guy may have owned a gun, he didn't own it legally. All the same, because it's like, oh, they have a gun, therefore they're a gun owner. And despite the fact that they didn't have a license or do any of the things and obtained the thing illegally, and then committed crimes with the thing that they obtained illegally, we're going to still paint gun owners as a whole, even the ones that are daily vetted by the RCMP and have done all the background checks and follow all the laws and rules and have the 6,000 magic pieces of paper with them at any one time. And raise
Right.
all 17 range flags to make sure that no babies die on the range. Do all of that, we're the problem still because of the actions of a small percentage of the population that can't behave themselves.
Right. And I
Who-
mean, if you really want to get into it, the whole uptick of this buyback program and the assault weapons or whatever was all caused by the Nova Scotia shooting, which was a non-legal person, didn't have a license, not smuggled weapons across.
Yes,
the
but even
border.
if you look at, say, the Danforth one, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Guy that had a bunch of illegal handguns and an incredibly large amount of fentanyl for some reason. Sorry, carfentanil, because it's the super fentanyl. But we're not going to talk about that. We're going to just say that he
No.
was a gun owner that went and shot a bunch of innocent people and killed them.
and
Which
And-
technically correct, but not
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's
truthful.
the, yeah.
Like intellectually dishonest.
yeah,
There's
like,
a lot of that
that's-
going along with the liberals
that's-
and everything. It's weird.
And that's the thing, right? Like they're taking.
Have I
like,
used that for a show title before?
Now,
what?
we can always use it again.
what?
Carry on,
Intellectually
I'm gonna-
dishonest.
I'm gonna intern.
Oh,
you
yeah,
carry
no.
on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but this is
but-
the problem where you give just enough truth. And then just keep repeating the lie part of it.
or at least enough truth for most people to not want to do enough research.
Yeah, they won't
That they
dig any
agree.
further because
Yeah,
they're like,
They're
oh,
just like, well, yeah, that makes sense.
here's a tiny little nugget of truth in the headline. I don't need to read any more about this. This
Yeah.
is
A
must be
guy-
100% factual.
Yeah. A person.
I'm so glad that we
guns.
let people vote that are just
Yeah.
over the age of 18 because they can just base it on reading the headlines and whatever they saw on TikTok and like a complete
Right.
lack of critical thought in any relevant field or matter to go out and believe that firstly the media is being honest with them and the entire thing is not just propaganda, but then
Yeah.
to just not critically consume the headlines and then move on.
Right.
But
If
my
they-
feelings.
if they are legally old enough
But
to
I don't
be
care about your feelings. This is the
told-
thing.
yeah, if they're legally old enough to be told by the school system to cut off their penis, they're legally old enough to vote.
Mhm. And you keep this up, like you're gonna remember that.
Yeah, keep this
soon
up.
when
I'm
you go-
going to join that partisan organization.
Yeah, but it's also gonna be a point where you go vote, and it's gonna be a tablet, and you're gonna look at every candidate do the most relevant TikTok dance, and the person that does it
obviously.
best is
I can't wait until
who
we
they're
get the
gonna
top
vote
3
for.
TikTok dances to get elected. It'll be right up there
Yeah.
with the top 3 TikTok dances to stop the war in Ukraine. Or was that
Yeah.
Israel? I forget what we changed the
Yeah.
narrative to this week.
I thought it
It's
was the
just to
nurses
stop
with
the
the
war.
COVID.
Then we just it's like Mad Libs where you just like you keep
Yeah, you just
changing the
scratch
last
it out
part.
and- Yeah, it's you can just keep editing it. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just
Or
I
like
mean,
if
yeah.
you've ever ridden like a dirt bike and you got those like the goggles with the tear off strips and you just tear off the clear like so that the mud comes off really easy. It's like that, but it just has different country names in the last part, and you just keep peeling it off to see what the
Yeah.
next one is.
And it's unlimited
Yeah.
visors, but it doesn't affect your field of view. So
Yeah.
that's the nice thing.
But yeah, it's just the top three TikTok dances to end whatever in wherever, and you just keep peeling it off.
Yeah.
Welcome to Cloud.
I'll
World.
give them that. They're at least different dances for most of the things. I'm not saying they're good dances, but they're probably
I
different.
wouldn't even know.
Yeah, I don't have
even
an
know.
interpretive dance degree, so I
Yeah. There's partially
yet.
not, yeah. Well, more government nonsense things. Ontario NDP removes Sarah Hama. I don't know if she's Latino or not, or Latinx, sorry. I don't want to genderize people.
Latent?
Yeah, Latinx, Latinx. Because Latino, Latina,
I thought you said
can't.
latent, like in
No,
a
no,
taint as a
I don't
different
know,
weird part of the
Latinx,
body.
because it's Latinx, because Latino, Latina is gendered, and they don't want to genderize things, so it's now Latinx. That's how they spell it.
I mean, she might be some sort of Latina, but she's got quite the tan going.
Yeah, well, you can be whatever you want to be, but Ontario NDP leader Merritt Stiles says that she has removed rookie legislator Sarah Hama from the caucus. Stiles says that the member for Hamilton Center, who had been under fire for comments about the Israel-Hamas conflict, made what Stiles calls a number of unilateral actions that have undermined the party's collective work and broken the trust of her colleagues. Apparently, Hama spoke this morning in the legislature against a motion to censure her from a statement she made on the conflict between Israel and Hamas. She says that Premier Doug Ford's government is targeting her to distract from its own scandals, referring to the Green Deal and all of that. Also said that the government and institutions in Canada are trying to use their voice and weight to silence people who support Palestinians. The progressive conservative motion would effectively silence Hama in the legislature and calls on the speaker not to recognize her in the House until she retracts her original statement and apologizes again. Hama's original statement on social media decried the generations-long occupation of Palestine, without mentioning the attack by Hamas militants on Israeli civilians.
So right off the get-go, I'll just say I'm surprised the NDP kicked out a minority. I will say
A
blackish
double
person.
minority.
Yeah,
A person of Somali origin in a wheelchair.
in a wheelchair.
So I guess
Like,
did they
it-
kick them out, or
like-
did they just roll them out?
Depends.
Was that in
do they
poor
have
taste?
stairs?
That might have been in poor
Which
taste.
would
Like
be-
no, it's like
I don't
Is
think
it
we've ever been
okay?
accused of having good taste, so I'll allow it.
but is this also the point where they like roll them out, take the chair away, and then wait for them to crawl back?
Well, I mean, they've been booted out of the thing, and so even now that they're out of the party, they're still there as an independent because they can't like oust them from their seat.
Yeah, but I'm just shocked
But
that
now
they decided to take them.
even as an
person.
independent now, unless they retract their statement, which I haven't been able to find what any of their other statements were, but
No.
simply for not recognizing or announcing that this thing happened, this attack happened, they have been removed from their position.
Okay, so like I guess a couple first questions would be: is she actually representing the wishes of her constituents? Because maybe her constituents feel the same way. I don't know what
Yeah.
her comments were, but I'm just saying. But also, it's kind of butting up against that whole free speech thing. Now, if she's not speaking on behalf of the party, and saying like I represent all of the NDP in Ontario, but this is my personal
Yeah.
belief. What happens to freedom of belief, thought, or expression? Because like maybe she's saying something that's inciting hate against a group of people per se, which would be wrong. But by the same token, she's just saying I support Palestine. That's not actually anything untoward. So the funny thing is, I guess because it's not the current thing,
Are you
she's
allowed to say that you support Palestine?
well. That's the thing is up until
Well,
recently,
not if you're in government.
yeah, up
apparently,
until recently, supporting not Hamas but Palestine, was okay, but then after the Hamas attacks, it became kind of a passe. And because Israel's not a recognized country other than by like 2 nations, I think, just like Taiwan. It actually hasn't been recognized as a nation by a bunch of people.
So I need
So-
to look at the tax credit forms to figure out who I support first.
Yeah, but no, it's just
Well,
very interesting
I
that
hate to tell you this, Pierre, but our taxes are financing both sides.
yeah,
Well, I hope they both win then. So I didn't lose money on either side.
I just hope they have fun. It's like, oh
I'm
boy,
just waiting
I
for the
am really
time where
struggling
someone
with
is showing up.
the
and giving
Twitter
me-
X thing.
Or
Where's
It's
the
it's Latin, it's
well-documented
Latinx, not Twitter X.
Where's the well-documented history of anti-Semitism? I'm not seeing. Does this woman not have her own Twitter? They just have other politicians telling her that she's an anti-Semite?
Well, that's
Which-
how it goes nowadays, right? Like
Yeah.
you don't have to prove someone is racist, a Nazi,
have
a
to
bigot,
call 'em a
misogynistic.
racist.
Yeah, you just
Yeah.
have to tell them they're that, and then I mean, yes, we just went through a bunch of articles that actually proved a bunch of people were Nazis. But that's beside the
Yeah,
point.
when you
that-
put on the SS uniform and you pledge
Yeah.
your allegiance to Hitler and the National Socialist Party,
but-
that makes you
Yeah, an
a
actual
Nazi.
Nazi. Yeah, an actual,
Yeah, but if I'm a
Unless you've
person,
actually done that.
yeah,
Yeah, but if I'm a
that's the actual
person-
definition, yeah.
but if I'm a person that says this is the point of view from the proper way of looking at it, and you disagree, I can just call you anti-Semitic, a Nazi, misogynistic, a bigot, or whatever, and like that's just acceptable nowadays. It's not
Yeah.
right, but that's just how it goes now.
Yeah, politics have just gotten so stupid in
Weird.
this country, and
poli-
weird, where it's
Too
like,
political.
like
It's gotten too political.
I could get if they had come out and said something like supporting Hamas and the attacks.
Well, I don't understand. Okay, so again, complaints about Twitter. Is there a way to see a timeline that's just chronological so this shit's not all out of order? But also,
I don't know.
secondly, like a few days ago, of course, now I can't see where it was, October the 11th. She says she unequivocally condemns the terrorism by Hamas. So, like,
Okay, but when
Which
was
is
this
it,
article
guys?
released?
But yeah, but this is the problem, is that like, because
The
that wasn't
10th,
part of her
wasn't
original statement condemning
Posted
it.
on the 23rd, literally
the-
fucking today.
Well, but it's
So-
it's the whole like, I like oranges. Oh, so you're against apples? No. I just like
But
oranges.
is this also
But
a
this
way
is-
where they don't have to fix the elevator or fix the ramp? Because if they kick her the fuck out, if she's in a wheelchair.
No, it's a government building. The policy is that shit's got to be there anyways.
Okay, I was just
Yeah.
want to make sure.
Yeah. No, but it's just nonsense. Like,
I mean, so yeah, like I think it was Gavin that said it, where like if this is her constituents, the party or the place she recommends, not even the party, the people that elected her and said represent us. If that's where they stand, yeah, you can't
Well, but
hold her
the-
against that. You
but even
that's
if,
that's
this is also why
deciding
we
of the
need
people's.
recall legislation. So if she has gone and done and said something that is not supported by her constituents, then if we had recall stuff,
Yeah.
they could decide to call a vote and get her out of there.
But if this is how
Right.
the 6,000 people
But-
she represents say, no, we fucking agree with her. You can't fucking touch her and you can't do anything, because that's literally why she was voted there. And that's
Where?
literally what she was
But-
hired to do. Like
I-
she was voted in and she's getting paid by tax dollars to represent a certain amount of people. And if the majority of those people agree with what she says and whatever, they have no right to do anything.
Wait, I think I may have a superior solution to this. I found a
Okay,
tweet
let's
from I found an X.
Yeah,
I found a
this is-
tweet
whatever.
from Jagmeet Singh that he is supporting her candidacy when she was running for the election. So can we cancel Jagmeet Singh for supporting a pro-Palestinian terrorist MPP.
No,
From
it
what I read from
depends.
that is now that Jagmeet supports 2 terrorist organizations.
Well
but-
played, sir. Well
But it also
played.
depends. Did he have his belly button ring prior or after this post?
Well, I don't see a dent in his forehead in this one, so
Yeah,
Okay.
but yes, he's all for the Khalistani, is it? Those terrorists,
yes,
and now Hamas is how
Okay.
I take this.
good.
At least
least we can-
consistent.
Only 5 more
Yeah.
to go, and then we can
I mean,
have a news article about it.
Generally, those 2 groups don't get along, but somehow Jagmeet has brokered peace between them and now supports both of them.
Is it pronounced Jagmeet or Jugmeat?
It's
Jagmeet.
depends if you want to actually go with what he wants or not.
Well,
Okay.
but yeah, I mean, and it feels so stupid that I need to say these things, but I certainly don't condone any attacks on any innocent people, and
No.
that should never happen anywhere in the world. But I don't think that this particular, and I can't believe that I'm going to defend the NDP here, but I don't think what this person said or did is any reason to be booted out of the party, other than that, like,
I'm
They
still
didn't-
unclear on if they actually did something that.
but that's
is-
exactly right.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, like
just because they didn't speak out against something bad that happened and supported something that is sort of aligned with it but not,
yeah.
they're now like, no, it just, maybe it's an unpopular opinion for some, and that's fine, I'll accept the consequences of my unpopular opinion, but like, yeah, they didn't come out going like, yay, dead people, or anything like
No.
that. So what did they actually do or say that is so bad?
Yeah,
I
like
mean,
It's so bad that it can't be published.
so it's government. We have the evidence to support this, but the evidence in and of itself is so dangerous to public safety that we cannot tell you why this is
Ah.
dangerous to public safety.
I
What?
wonder where I've heard that before
Wow.
of anything that may have
Yeah.
been
Uh,
yeah.
I've got a couple other ones we can get through here quickly. Have you guys watched the video of Oliver eating his apple in the field, talking to the
Oh,
reporter?
I
Pretty
love
awesome.
that one.
So good.
Yeah,
For me being as straight as the straightest thing you've ever seen, kind of gave me a chub.
I mean, I like
Yeah.
apples too, but like,
yeah,
come on.
not that much. Yeah.
No,
But-
not the fact of the apple, just the fact that it keeps
I,
poke.
I
poking may not be
enjoy
the best.
messing with
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
journalists. Yes.
yeah. Like, there's
Seeing
someone that
journalists
Yeah.
get
wants to
fucked with
try
is
and lean
yeah,
lead into a certain subject, and he's just like, "Okay, you want to go down this rabbit hole? Like, okay, explain yourself."
well,
What
but
are the
it's
facts you're talking
brilliant.
about?
Like he's
It's-
calling
yeah.
the guy on
Well-
like his nonsense, right? Like,
Yeah.
maybe
but doing it in
back
a
up a
way
step
that
and-
is.
for
Yeah.
the listeners that have not seen the video, what's the context here?
Well, so it's Poliver standing in a field next to a reporter, and Poliver is sort of like casually eating an apple, which makes it even funnier.
Yeah, it's the
And the person interviewing the reporter is trying to allude a bunch of things in that, like, he's pro-Trump and that he's this, that, and like right-wing conservative and pushing all of this stuff, and trying to accuse him of, basically being what everyone would call a Nazi these days, other than a real Nazi.
other than the
and-
guy we save it.
And Poliver is kind of like sidestepping this, like
Okay, what do you mean?
he's made of Teflon, and it's amazing.
Yeah,
He's like, so what do you
It's-
mean? Like, what do you mean by that? Like, I've never said that. Like,
so like these
And-
are conspiracies. You're like the right wing, and he's like, okay, what do you mean by that? And he's like, well, those people, and he's like, do you care to
It's-
elaborate? And yeah, it's it. I just- yeah, it gave
apparently
me
it
a-
is it has gone viral, and rightly so.
Yeah, it gave me a straight man chub.
I certainly respect Bolivar a little bit more than I did before having seen the video, because
Yeah.
messing with journalism
Yeah.
more people
And
should do that.
and he does
Like-
like an excellent job of it in this video.
Yeah.
And like,
And you can
I've
tell
heard-
that it's winding this guy up. And I don't.
Yeah.
I tried to look who this guy up. Apparently, he's the editor of the Times Chronicle. I guess that's something in BC.
yeah,
Local
I don't
paper.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know the guy. I've not seen other news by him. I don't really care. But like
He clearly
winding a
buys
journalist up,
into, like,
always funny.
the left leaning side of things and the
Yeah.
way that he's trying to
It's-
push the buttons on Paul
Well,
Bear.
yeah,
And
so, like,
he's not buying it at all.
Some
He's
of the
just-
better quotes, though, like a lot of people would say that you're simply taking a page out of the Donald Trump book.
Yeah. Which people?
Which people? Who-
Yeah, or what page?
What page?
Which book?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Well,
What,
yeah,
what,
exactly,
what,
and
book?
that's what-
What
it's
page?
just
Like,
like- Winding this guy up because the journalist will
Yeah,
not
yeah.
actually answer what these questions are.
I know.
And it's
And
well, you know.
the fact.
No,
he's-
that's why I'm asking you. Like,
Yeah, and the fact that he's just standing there and he's like, yeah, but like, do you care to elaborate? Like,
what is this? Like,
Like-
he's just
like,
like,
no,
shit,
I wouldn't,
yes.
I wouldn't say.
I'm
wouldn't
a
say- yeah.
politician, right? Like, yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, what do you mean by that? Like, what book are you speaking of? Or like,
and then he's just like,
you know,
that
these
apple,
people are
like, it's
saying,
so good.
Yeah. yeah, and do you care? Like, what about this? And he's like, do you care to elaborate on that so I can get a bit more context? And the
Oh,
guy's
I
just
like-
like, well, you know, and he's like, no, like that's why I'm
No.
asking.
Yeah.
And then it just keeps going down.
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, no, but the
It's-
crunch of the apple every here and there.
Oh, it's
It's just-
gold.
It's
Absolutely
the,
it's
gold.
the
gold.
nonchalant "fuck you" as I bite
Yeah,
into this apple.
Like you don't even need to like just listen to the audio. You don't even need to watch the video. Like you can picture the video in your head if you listen to the audio. The person's asking questions, and you could just picture him standing there, and he's just like,
Well,
yeah,
for a
care to
journalist,
elaborate?
He's awfully
And, like-
flustered about asking what should be fairly straightforward questions.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's just like with an apple. Every time there's like this scenario, and we're just like, I don't know. It's awesome. It's been like.
It was pretty.
Trust
good.
me,
Yeah.
I have my issues with politicians. More
Oh,
so,
absolutely.
more so him, because I'm like, he aligns with a lot of things where I agree with, where I'm like, the guy can flap his gums a lot because
Well, he's a politician.
not. Yeah, exactly. He's a politician. He's not the person that can swing a majority vote, or it's not a majority in federal government
But-
where he can
but-
make what his gums flap actually happen. But I'm like, I'm
I-
kind of at the point where I'm like, let's put him in for 4 years and see what happens. And if not, let's feather him and see how he likes the oak beams.
Yeah, but it's brilliant. I enjoy this, and there was a
Yeah.
couple of people that were like going, "Oh, this is staged. This is that. This is everything." And it's like, well, I don't think it was staged in the way that you mean it, but also like it was because it's an interview and they're filming it. So like it was set up in that this person was going to interview him. I just don't
Yeah.
think that the interview went the way that the interviewer wanted.
Yeah,
You know,
so
he was
it
hoping
a
to make
stage-
Paul Revere look like a complete asshole when it just backfired completely, and now he looks like a can read like, oh, it's so
Yeah.
good.
So if it's a stage thing to make a bunch of stuff, yeah, fine, I'll agree. But
No,
have
I
a
don't
feeling-
think
Yeah.
it was staged anymore. In that, like, they agreed to meet at this time and place and film an interview.
at this place, and they didn't mind him
And-
having an apple because the apple is mostly eaten way prior
Yeah.
to the first question. Like 3/4 of the apple is gone.
Yeah,
Right.
but I think that
So-
like that just makes it even funnier, right? Because it's like
Yeah, it
so
makes
much
it so
contempt for the journalist that he's sitting there and just like eating an apple while he's being interviewed, because it's like he knew how bad the interview was going to go before it
Yeah,
even started.
He
He's
needed
like,
the thing. He needed the thing to keep him going. yeah.
it was
It
good.
was good.
I enjoyed
Yeah.
it. If you haven't watched it, you should absolutely go see it. But yes, it is going viral like around the world apparently. So
Yeah,
and rightly so.
lots
Um,
of people are talking about it.
Yeah. Last article here. And in a surprise to nobody, China has been linked to a propaganda campaign targeting Trudeau, Paul Revere, and a bunch of other people. So the Chinese government, according to Global Affairs, was behind a spamouflage disinformation campaign targeting President Justin Trudeau, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, and other MPs in August and September of this year.
So I need
For
to
those
see the pattern.
for those that don't
of-
know what spamouflage is, spamouflage is when one uses a network of new or hijacked social media accounts to post propaganda messages across various platforms such as Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Medium, whatever the hell that is, Reddit, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Shocking that TikTok would be on there when the Chinese are involved. Apparently,
Yes.
the department's rapid response mechanism, which was set up to monitor foreign state-sponsored disinformation efforts, said the campaign was connected to the People's Republic of China and was meant to curb criticism of the communist regime. Which is weird that they would be targeting Trudeau, because I don't think he has ever once criticized their regime so much as praised it. According to
But
the
has he
report,
clapped hard enough?
maybe not. It's been a while since he has clapped, so it's probably a case of him not clapping long enough and hard enough.
So you talking with your hands
Things that
or
he's
little
used to.
Asian boys?
Well, yes. According to the report released Monday morning, the propaganda campaign began in August and targeted dozens of MPs from across the political spectrum. And an email from Global Affairs Canada officials to the affected MPs said that 47 of them from across Canada were targeted. The email advised MPs on how to protect themselves from foreign interference and assured them the campaign did not present a threat to their safety.
Yeah.
But it did probably try to change people's opinions on how they should vote and feel about things, which is probably more important than any one MP's safety. Sorry, MPs.
Step one,
So-
stay off TikTok, and it would your spamouflage campaign won't work.
Yeah.
But does Spamouflage look better than like multicam?
Well, I mean, if you cover yourself in spam, that's going to attract a whole lot of insects. So I would not advise using spam as camouflage.
Okay.
As delicious as it may be for those of you listeners in Hawaii that enjoy it, yeah, don't wear it. Not good.
How is it as a musical?
The Spamalot musical was quite entertaining.
As long as you put at least 2 drops of acid in your mouth.
No, even stone sober, 10 out of 10 would recommend.
Okay.
The clippity
at
clop
least
with
one
the
drop.
coconuts for the horse hooves was is a nice touch. They wear them on a string around their neck. For those that haven't seen it, sorry, spoiler alert. Some excellent musical numbers as well. But yeah, shocking. The Chinese continue to interfere with our politics, yet we continue to do nothing about it.
And or at least we sweep it under the rug as best as we can.
It's find it interesting that they're trying to target criticism about communism. Like, come on, what liberal MP is criticizing that? None.
If anything, they're fulfilling the communist utopia of like spreading worldwide. They're helping, spread
Yeah.
the message. So I don't know why. Like
Yeah.
I said, not clapping hard enough, I guess, is what it boils down to.
Yeah, that's that is the only thing I can see here is that they did not. But yeah, stay off the socialist media, and then you won't be getting the socialist propaganda. I say that as we are on socialist media.
Yep.
But
This is
our
my form of
propaganda is
interaction.
good. Yeah. Our propaganda is for entertainment value only.
Yeah, which is best, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, staying off the
Yeah.
socialist medias.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for getting into the Instagram reels because I end up on this good thing and there's funny stuff, and then all of a sudden I've sent 20 videos to people. But like that's what I do. I don't post stuff. I don't.
But
like
see,
anything.
that's those reels are the hijacked accounts, Pierre. Those are the ones that they're telling you
yeah.
to not criticize the Communist
No.
Party of China.
No, they're funny, mostly inappropriate or racist stuff. that I just send to like a
Yeah.
group of friends.
But hidden in there, there's subliminal
Yeah.
messages to
Yeah. In
praise
embrace-
dear leader and
Yeah.
share, like equally distribute your money to the other people.
No doubt.
But-
No, none of the videos I share have anything to do with sharing the wealth. But it's just like I don't know, like I'd be okay with no Instagrams. I do kind of get lost in the little world of Instagrams, maybe once every like week and a half, where I'm like, I'm on one to go those good things where I'm just sending videos to like 4 or 5 friends on the Instagrams because we're all in a group chat and all I do is send inappropriate stuff. Or like 2 people I work with where I'm like, I send them a text message because I don't know how
Don't do
to
it.
add them to Instagram.
Don't do it.
Yeah, like
Just, just stay off the socialist media.
yeah, and
Just
like I play video
the-
games when I do the poopy, and that's
The
like,
only time that the socialist of media is this is okay is Monday nights starting at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
Other than that, stay
Not-
off.
at
I guess
least
Maybe
9-ish.
maybe occasionally on Sunday night around 9 o'clock as well.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well,
Maybe.
I mean, that's probably a good enough
Segue.
segue.
Yeah.
Ian, where can everyone find you?
Well, when I'm not on here, and rarely once in a while, I'm on the Canadian Prepper podcast on the evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern on YouTube as well. Or you can contact me directly at theislandretreat@gmail.com. Other than that, no social media for this guy.
No social media.
Serious.
I don't know how you're gonna share your love of the prime minister without being able to post it on TikTok.
He can feel
Yeah.
it from here.
Show us your top 3 dances that support Justin Trudeau.
Something like that. I don't know.
Something like that. Gavin, where can everybody find you?
You can occasionally find me on at least one socialist media platform, the Instagram. You can find me there, Urbex GTA.
Pierre, how about you?
You will not have the pleasure of finding my Instagram, so I can send you inappropriate stuff. So you can find me here Monday nights, 90%, 95% of the time, probably drunk, talking about stuff, or Sunday nights on YouTube's as well as Bookface, on the other CPP, Canadian.
You
Prepper,
realize
or-
that 95% of the time means you get 2 Mondays off a year, right?
Yeah, valid.
Okay, just
Like,
because I think you're over your
Yeah,
quota.
you're contracted now. Yeah.
Yeah, no, so it depends when the year start is.
I see.
Right? Yeah. So yeah, but Monday nights Sunday nights on YouTube's and Bookface, Canadian Prepper podcast. I mostly get there, get drunk, and try and associate and be good with other people's.
If you want to find us on the internet, Gilded is there. At least I think it's still there. I haven't logged in a little while.
Wouldn't
Yeah.
be able to tell you.
Other Andrew occasionally sends me messages about what's going on, and I
Yeah.
respond with a thumbs up emoji. So my
doing
contractual
your part.
obligations are fulfilled.
Yeah. I'm doing my part.
If you're shopping at Ragnarok Tactical, you should use discount code Patriot at checkout, save yourself some money. And if you want to send us feedback, you can do that by emailing the show feedback at CanadianPatriotPodcast.com. And we'll probably respond to your criticism in some sort of hurtful and or scornful way on the air.
For
I have to
entertainment
apologize.
We can
purposes,
be
yeah.
openly honest. We
Yeah.
can be openly honest about your feedback.
I can be honest and hurtful at the same time. Ask
That's
my
beside the
HR
point.
team.
Yeah.
That's beside the point. Just send it, and
Yeah.
we will be 100% transparent with what we think of it.
With
Maybe
or without the apple.
95%. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we'll all have apples.
I have to apologize to Rod Giltaca. We couldn't get Rod on the show this week. It is apple picking season in the Lower Mainland. So Rod is awfully busy. So you can't eat the scenery, but you can go pick the apples. For all of our listeners out there in podcast land, I'd like to remind you that you are a small fringe minority with unacceptable views.